Until now, you've had to use the GraphCMS web application to make any changes to a schema. This includes adding models, creating enumerations, and adding fields. But now you can use the new Management SDK that allows you to do this programmatically. You can create everything from updating locales, creating models, adding fields, creating enums, to adding relations between those and working with stages. So before we go ahead and run any migrations, let's first set up our API access. So inside of the application, inside of API access, you'll want to scroll down to the new Management API access, and you'll want to click to allow this token to be used for the Management API and SDK. Then give it a name and then create that token, and we'll copy that token for use in the next step. It's important to remember you'll need to be on a paid plan to use the Management API or SDK. Now let's initialize a new empty npm project, and we'll install the dependency at GraphCMS/management. Then inside of a new file, and we'll just call this index.js, you may want to structure these in a way that you can perform up and down migrations, and all of this is outlined in our blog and in the README for the package. But today, let's just take a simple approach and run a migration inside of our editor. So inside of the index.js, let's require new migration and field type from the package at GraphCMS/management. Then we can instantiate a new migration, and what we need to provide is that auth token that we created previously, and of course the endpoint to our project. And both of those can be found inside of the GraphCMS API access settings. Let's begin by creating a new model for our blog post. We'll call migration.createModel, and inside of here we'll give an API ID of blog post, and we must also specify the API ID plural value as well, so this will be blog posts. Then all that's left to do is set a display name, and we'll set this to blog post. So now what we can do is add a simple field to our blog post model. So we can do blog post.add simple field, and then pass in the API ID of that field, and also a short display name. Then we'll set the type to string. Then we'll go ahead and create another simple field, and this time we'll call this content. And we'll set a display name content for this as well. And then from the available types, you can see you could set this to any type, but in our case, what we'll do is we will set this to a rich text field. But you can choose from any one of these, and it works just like it does inside of the UI. Then all that's left to do is run migration.run, and inside of parentheses, if you pass the true, this will run in the foreground, so it will await anything that is running. Now if we run this simple node script, we should see that this will return. There's no output because we haven't told it to do so, but if we head on over to the GraphCMS UI and head to the schema editor, we'll see we now have our new blog post model with those simple fields added. Here we have title of type string, and we have the content type rich text for our content field. Now let's go ahead and add a asset relation to our blog post model. First we'll import relation type, and then down where we are creating our model, let's change this to update model. We'll remove the plural and display name, and we'll just set the API ID of the model we want to update. And then we'll call blog post.add relational field. And inside of here, we'll give this an API ID of cover image. And we'll also set the display name to cover image as well. Then we must set the relation type to relation type 1-to-1, or you could select a different relation type if you wanted to have multiple assets assigned to this blog post. Then all that's left to do is specify the model in which you want to create this 1-to-1 relation. In our case, this will be asset. Now this asset model already exists because this is a default system model that is given to you when you create a new GraphCMS project. Now if we run our script, we'll perform that migration, and once that's run, we'll be able to see inside of the GraphCMS UI this new field cover image. It has the display name and the ID, and then when we go to edit content, you'll see that the applicable renderers for the inputs are then given. If you'd like to learn more about the SDK and what it can do, head on over to our blog where you can find a short tutorial on getting started, similar to this video, and also our documentation, where you can learn about all of the different fields and arguments that are required, and of course, how to perform up and down migrations. Then lastly, you can check out the NPM page for this library, and you can check all of the versions that are available and the applicable documentation.